This is VOA News. I'm Marissa Melton. Taiwan's incumbent president Tsai Ing-wen won a second term in office Saturday in a mandate seen as a demonstration of Taiwanese citizens' wish to keep their autonomy rather than fall in line with Beijing. Reuters' Emer McCarthy has more.
The election is a stern rebuke to Beijing, following a campaign that was dominated by China's efforts to get the island to accept Beijing's rule under a one country, two systems model. Tsai has firmly rejected the policy but has called for talks to resume with China, saying she hoped Beijing understood Taiwan and its people would not submit to intimidation. China cut off a dialogue mechanism when Tsai took office in 2016 and has regularly flown bombers near the island since. Tsai beat her main opponent Han Kuo-yu of the Kuomintang Party, which favours close ties with China, by more than 2.6 million votes.
That's Reuters' Emer McCarthy reporting. The Trump administration is trying to amplify voices of dissent in Iran after the Islamic Republic denied and then admitted it shot down a Ukrainian passenger plane. AP correspondent Ben Thomas has more.
I think the regime's having a very bad week.
National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien tells ABC's This Week.
This is a regime that's reeling from maximum pressure. They're reeling from their incompetence in this situation. And the people of Iran are just fed up with it.
But he says the Trump administration isn't after regime change.
It's never been our policy to change the regime in Iran, but the people of Iran are going to have, hopefully have the ability at some point to elect their own government and to be governed by the leaders they choose.
Ben Thomas, Washington.
A crippling French transport strike entered its 39th day Sunday over government pension reform. The strike continued despite the government's offer to withdraw the most contested measure of the plan. You're listening to VOA News. After weeks of criticism over the handling of the bushfires scorching Australia, Prime Minister Scott Morrison says he will propose a national review into the response to the disaster.
There's a lot of raw emotion out there, and that's why I say there are scars on our landscape and there are scars on our people and scars you won't see. And the rebuilding effort is just not rebuilding the infrastructure, it's just not rebuilding the towns and the homes. It's rebuilding communities, and to do that, you've got to help people restore as well. And no one's immune from that. None of us are.
The Australian bushfires have been burning for nearly 3 months and killed at least 28 people. Kenneth Roth, the executive director of Human Rights Watch, was barred from entering Hong Kong on Sunday. He was planning to launch the organization's annual World Report in Hong Kong this week.
So I'm going to return to New York. I'll hold the press conference there. But sadly, this episode is just the latest evidence that the Chinese government is doing everything it can to undermine the enforcement of international human rights standards.
The report is expected to be critical of China. Meanwhile, more than 1,000 people attended a rally in Hong Kong Sunday to urge people and governments abroad to support the city's pro-democracy movement. Speakers also celebrated the results of Saturday's presidential election in Taiwan.
The Taiwanese demonstrated how peaceful it could be if we have a democracy. And we have to understand that the Taiwanese fought hard in previous decades so that they can have this power today. So if we want to have democracy like them, we need to fight hard and to continue our fight with the Communist Party until we can have our 5 demands met.
Under the framework of one country, two systems, the city enjoys greater democratic rights than those on the mainland, but protesters say those freedoms have been steadily eroding under Chinese President Xi Jinping. In Britain, a crisis meeting is scheduled Monday to put an end to the royal rift that pits Prince Harry and his wife Meghan Markle against the rest of the monarchy. AP's Julie Walker.
Queen Elizabeth's car pulled in and out of her Sandringham estate, where Prince Andrew and sons William and Harry will be meeting her. Meghan Markle is said to be calling in from Canada, where she and baby Archie remain.
Priorities will be that they don't break up the family.
And royal biographer Angela Levin says the Queen wants to move fast.
And that is because she doesn't want Harry to go off in a huff, I am sure, and not come back.
Harry and Meghan posted on their website last week without telling the Queen that they're stepping back as senior royals, will split their time between Britain and North America, and will become financially independent. One of the big issues to work out is what outside jobs they will take. I'm Julie Walker.
I'm Marissa Melton. You're listening to VOA News.